So here's an average day of my life in my caravan, and I've been posting less and less. I've been doing less saxophone videos and just less wanting to, I don't know, make the effort, you know. Like, I feel like when I'm performing, and it's old habits dying hard because, you know, I come from a mindset of requiring performance in order to get any kind of attention or love or anything like that. That's my own childhood trauma issues playing out, and played out very much so in my adult life as well, where in my job I felt like I was constantly having to, you know, perform. The show must go on, and lipstick, makeup, you know, razzle dazzle, be Miss Congeniality, and this, you know, illness and coming to terms with the change in my circumstances has been really about just undoing that and feeling okay with not being somebody. You know, sometimes I say to myself things like, oh, you know, I used to be somebody. I was the editor of a magazine. I was somebody, and who am I now if I don't have that? Like, what is left of me? All those people that, you know, told me how great I was all the time, they're not around anymore, and I don't really know, you know, how much value I have in the world being a nomadic, homeless, disability pension recipient with very few social contacts, no home base, no community. And most of my friends, you know, I do have friends. I have a few friends scattered around the world, and I love them, but honestly, most of the time when I'm scrolling through my phone just wishing I could have somebody to talk to, I don't call them, because either everybody's too busy, or I don't know, I talk too much. I feel like I'm taking up valuable time that they'd rather be spending doing other things and listening to me, and then that just makes me feel even worse about not being, you know, not, people only love me when I'm happy or performing or creating or contributing, or I don't know. Anyway, it's triggering, it makes me feel worse, and so therefore next time I feel like I should reach out, or I want to reach out, I'll probably talk myself out of it, because remember last time you did that and you felt dismissed, ignored, rejected, unheard, and hurt your feelings even more, and now you're not going to do that anymore. So that's quite often what I'll do. So anyway, I'll move you because I'm finished my dishes now. I'll come and sit over here. So yeah, I've got a really nice spot here, and it's very isolated. Oh god, dropping the phone. There we go. Yeah, it's very isolated. There's nothing but fields and fields of grass and trees out behind me, and the town I'm in is a population of 500 people, which is pretty small. And yeah, they've been nice. You know, everyone's nice everywhere I go most of the time, and you know, most of the stuff I'm telling myself is in my own head or has been put there by repeated things that my family have told me over the years. So those programs run pretty deep. But I feel sad a lot of the time, you know, and I've signed up for this saxophone course with Grace Kelly and Leo P, who I absolutely adore and whose saxophone playing totally inspires me, and I've signed up for, I've done so many online courses since lockdown began, and you know, really want to be a better saxophone player, because if it wasn't for the hours a day I spend playing saxophone, I was going to say I'd probably go crazy, but I think I probably already have. Anyway, it fills the empty space. when there's no one else or nothing else around. But yeah, becoming less and less motivated. I try to study music theory, and I look up courses and, you know, watch videos online about learning as much as I can about all the different modes and scales, and, you know, to be able to get the kind of music theory, to learn that language, to really speak that language. And it just feels so too hard, you know. Everyone else seems better at it than me, and all I want to do is play songs. You know, I hear a song in a Spotify playlist that I remember from way back when, that I always used to love, and I never knew who sang it or who it was by or anything about it, and I say, oh, I'm going to learn that song. So, you know, I listen to it, I press pause every, you know, couple of bars, and I pick up my saxophone and play a few notes, and I can work it out by ear fairly quickly, and then I write the notes down. So on my books I have quite a few like little folders like this with all my music in them, and this is pretty much how I write out my music. So it's literally the letters of the key that I have to play to make that note, rather than writing it out like, you know, this sort of style, which I can also, you know, I can read that music. I find it harder because my eyesight's not very good, and a lot of times if there are notes above, I can't quite tell how many lines, because lines get blurry. So it's, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between a B and a D, for example, when you've got blurry vision, which is, you know, partly from my rheumatoid arthritis and partly from having had Bell's palsy a couple of years ago. My left eye has never fully got back its vision from that, so it was paralyzed for so long and stayed open. I couldn't blink and squeeze. So what happened was I actually damaged the cornea. The doctor said it was basically as if you were rubbing what did he say, like steel wool on a plastic coating. So because, you know, there was no tears, you don't produce tears when you have Bell's palsy, so there was no lubrication in my eye. So every time I was sort of trying to blink after my feelings started coming back, the first couple of months I couldn't blink at all. My eye was just wide open, and I had to actually tape it down at night and put drops in it and stuff. But in the meantime, the harshness of the lid against the eyeball scratched it, and yeah, and I've never been able to see properly since. So challenges. I'd love to get to a point where I don't need to read any music at all, where I know all those songs in my head and exactly what note to play, and like I used to when I was a teenager. That was the only way I learnt how to play music. But now, I don't know, brain fog, it's just not the same. I need to refer to my notes quite regularly. But, you know, let's be realistic. I'm never going to be a professional musician. I'm never going to be, you know, like those people that I admire so much on YouTube and Instagram. And I'm just playing songs because they make me happy, and learning songs makes me happy. It keeps my brain active. I don't know if it's too late for me to learn a whole new language, as far as, you know, what's a Phrygian and a Maxillidian modes, and I don't even know what that means and what they do and why I need to know them. I have no idea. You know, it took me ages to grasp the circle of fifths, and I kind of get that, you know, I understand it. It makes a lot of sense, and sometimes when I see things I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I haven't memorized all my major and minor scales, and I know I'm supposed to do that as well, and then the pentatonic scales so that I can jam along. So yeah, I'm really cautious about doing anything at the moment, because it seems that everything I try or want to try kind of just reinforces my own negative self-esteem of I'm not good enough. You know, I'm a failure because I didn't succeed at this life thing, and I don't have things that everyone else my age has. place to live, a community of caring people, or family who supports you and loves you no matter what. Like, I don't have those things. And yeah, I guess me putting on my pretty dresses and my makeup and working so hard to be likable by so many people was part of offsetting those, very strong feelings inside me, which obviously have since been diagnosed as complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and yeah, other things, lots of other things going on as well that I don't really want to talk about because nobody wants to listen. So I just sit with them. I dwell with them a lot. And I've made so many videos like this over the years. Like, I've made videos like this even when I was Lisa Magazine and I was, on the surface of everything looking like I had it all together. I was always struggling. I've always been struggling. I've been struggling all my adult life, actually. No, all my life. Even as a kid, I've struggled. My diaries reflect that. The struggles that I face, just to want to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, to be accepted, to be acceptable, to be loved by anybody. And so I keep making these videos and I keep posting things online, and I question it every time. Like, why do you need any validation at all? Like, why can't you just be happy with what you've got and the solution that you've come up with to not being able to handle so many things, that the list of what I can't handle and what I struggle with and what I pretend to handle but actually am not would be so long that would be a whole nother video altogether. Quite possibly autistic, but there's a real fine line between autism, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression. Like, there's an overlap with all these things that the doctors have never really kind of been able to stick me in one particular box. Yeah, that's the nature of me. I don't even fit into the reject boxes. So I certainly don't fit into the normal boxes. And yeah, this is my truth, I've got to be able to speak it. Masking and pretending you're okay and you're coping and you've got it all together, it's really hard work. It's really exhausting. And come here, Pixie. Yeah, she knows when I'm upset. Like, come on, you can come down here. She doesn't want to jump off the bed because it's a long way down. I'll just go get her because she can see I'm upset and it's her job to comfort me. So I'll just grab her. Come here, little puppet. Oh, you are so good. You are. Oh, little angel. She's sitting there going, what's wrong, Mummy? Are you upset? So this is Pixie Angel. She's a certified assistance dog to help me with my PTSD issues. With my anxiety, I have meltdowns, panic attacks. I get very anxious and nervous around people because of some scary things that have happened to me that I haven't spoken about and I'm not going to speak about. But yeah, very traumatizing things have happened to me in the last few years. And I've become very withdrawn as a result of that. I find it hard to trust people. I find it hard to trust myself around people. I find it hard to know if I'm reading the situation right and if people are the right kind of people for me or whether they're going to hurt me, because it's happened, unfortunately. So yeah, this is her job and she gets to come with me everywhere. She comes to the shops, she comes to the supermarket, anywhere I go she comes, because she's 24/7 keeping an eye on me, and she senses my tears. She can smell them even if I'm not crying out loud, and she'll come up and sort of try and comfort me, which is really kind of sweet. And I do appreciate her very much. So I don't like explaining why I have a service dog / assistance dog. It's really, really embarrassing to have to talk about your personal, medical and mental health issues with random strangers. So if you see somebody with an assistance dog that doesn't look like they're disabled, it's really, please don't say, you know, oh, what does your dog do for you, or why do you have an assistance dog, because that person, like me, really might not want to talk about that with you. When people ask me those kind of questions, I think it's a bit rude. I just say she's a medical alert dog, because she does. She alerts me to a medical situation, and diverts me from completely breaking down and making an absolute fool of myself in public, which has happened quite a few times, and it is really embarrassing. So yeah, that's her purpose. She's cute, she's fluffy, she gets looked at sometimes like, yeah, right, whatever. You just want to take your dog everywhere you go. Oh, I wish I could take my dog everywhere I go. I'm like, oh yeah, you want to take your dog everywhere you go? I will trade you my disabling conditions for the ability to take my dog everywhere. You know, I would trade that in a heartbeat. So I would much rather not have disabling conditions that make it impossible for me to deal with real life in public places, and leave my dog at home, you know. So don't say things like that. It really, there's so many things that can just make you feel crapper about yourself. Anyway, I'm going to start posting more videos like this where I'm just me. Don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a shit that I look like shit, that I haven't got makeup on. I do put on makeup, you know, a lot of the time, because it makes me feel better about myself, to feel pretty and make an effort. But honestly, if it means that I'm not going to make an effort to interact and reach out because of the fact that it's alright, there's nobody there. There's no one there. Seriously, it's a butterfly. Then I'd rather just make videos like this with me being me and tell you my real story, because I gotta start living my truth, guys. You know, no more pretending. No more. I hope that you'll find it okay that I'm just the way I am. And yeah, anyway, thanks for listening. Phone sitting on my table. Just like my diaries, you're the only person I got to talk to these days, so apart from Pixie. But yeah, life's hard, and I'm doing the very best I can. See ya.